Today's project is good to the last drop. Welcome to Up All Night DIY. I'm Monica. Thanks for joining me. Hey gang, come on in to the My Coffee Shop collaboration. I'm hosting along with my friends Dawn of Shabby Meets Bling, Natalie of Sparks of Joy Studio, and Mary of The Painted Peach. We're joined by lots of our talented creator friends who will inspire you with fabulous caffeinated projects. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's get into it. I've had this Dollar Tree round box in my stash for quite some time, and I thought we could transform this into a vintage style coffee pot. This cardboard canister has a shiny slick finish to it, which doesn't really lend itself to acrylic paint, so I'm going to give both the lid and the box a coat of black chalk paint. This will not only give me a paintable surface, but it will also give us an even blank surface to start with. You know what I'm saying? The chalk paint is also going to add a wee bit of texture, which is always a good thing for a vintage style piece, don't you think? Once I had a coat of the black chalk paint on my canister, I took it out back and gave both the lid and the canister a coat of black spray paint as well. I did this because I realized I wanted the inside to match, and it was just quicker and easier than trying to paint it with a paintbrush. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have anything in my stash that I could use as a handle, so I cut one from wood using my laser cutter, and I painted that black as well. Our coffee pot is going to need a spout, so we're going to make one from black cardstock. I grabbed a scrap piece of cardstock, and I created a template in the right size and shape for our spout. And we're going to use this to create our dimensional spout from black cardstock. So the first thing we're going to do is fold the cardstock in half. Then I'm going to use a glue stick here to attach one side to the other. I'm doubling up the cardstock to give the spout extra body and sturdiness. And I'm going to burnish it to make sure that the two sides are really well stuck together. I traced the template onto my cardstock, lining up the triangle so that it creates a kind of kite shape. I want to make sure that I draw in all the lines because we're going to fold the cardstock into the spout shape using those lines. Right, so you can see I traced the triangles next to each other, and like I said, kind of looks like a kite, but if you look at it, it looks like the front of a spout too, right? So now I'm going to line up the triangles on either side of the kite shape to create tabs. Those tabs will be folded in to make this into a 3D spout. You'll see, trust me. Let's cut out our shape. And now we're going to fold along the lines. I'm going to first fold at the center line, and then I'll fold in those two tab lines. The two side tabs, when folded in, will create the back of the spout, which will attach to the canister. Before we glue our spout into its final shape, I'm going to paint the cardstock in the color Cocoa by Americana. This is going to be our top coat color for our coffee pot. And of course, I'm going to paint the surface of the lid and the canister with the cocoa as well. And everything will get 2 coats, as always. I would like some text for the front of my coffee pot, so I'm going to jump into Photoshop here and design my text, which will simply say coffee. I want to add a shape to my text. That's why I'm doing it in Photoshop first, because it's just easier for me to do it in here and then transfer it into my Silhouette software. I'll make the adjustments to the shape of my text. I've decided I want the C to be much larger, so in order to do that, I'm going to type the capital letter C here and choose a larger point size. Now I need to go in and delete the original C from the word coffee. I'm repositioning my text here so that it all links up. Then I'm going to highlight it all and merge it so that it is now all on one layer. I'll go ahead and save that as a PNG file, and I'm going to upload it into Silhouette Studio. Once it's opened in Silhouette Studio, I'm going to use the trace function highlighting the word coffee, and then we're going to move the original out of the way, and I'll select the word coffee, bring it up to the corner of my page, and I like to draw a rectangle around my words and graphics so that when the Silhouette cuts it, that rectangle gets cut also, and it just makes it easier to weed the vinyl that way. Right, so now that that's done, I can send it to cut. You can do your text directly in Silhouette, but to change the shape, it's a whole rigmarole. It's just easier for me to do it in Photoshop. So that's why I did it there. My vinyl's been weeded, and now I'm going to line it up. Try to get it as center as possible. Those clamps there, they're to let me know where the spout and the handle are going to go. And I'm just going to burnish this into place. Gently removing the transfer tape, ever so gently. Ta-da! I will use my trusty fabric glue to assemble the spout. Once I get the glue on there, I'm going to pull the flap with the glue on it over top of the other flap so that it creates the back of the spout. And I'm going to line it up edge to edge. I'll hold it for a few minutes until the glue sets. Right, okay, before we attach it, let's add some personality. So I'm going to dry brush the spout canister and lid with some black paint. Give it an aged vintage look. I really want to highlight those creases and bends in the spout, so I'm going to dry brush along those folds. And I'm just going to do this until I'm happy with the look of it, and then we'll move on to the lid and the canister. Also, I want to apologize for my scratchy voice. We've been passing a summer cold back and forth, and I just can't seem to shake it. I'm basically just hitting the edges of the lid and the pot with the black dry brushing. I just want to give it a little bit of an aged look. Don't want to go over the top. You know what I'm saying? That's so easy to do for me. In the last coffee house collaboration, I focused more on a mid-mod style with a vintage turquoise and black, which I absolutely love. But I thought this time we'd change it up a bit, make it more folk artsy, and give it more autumnal colors. Let's add a wee bit of dry brushing around the lettering too. Just a wee bit. Yeah, I like the way that looks. I found this wee knob in my stash. I think it's from a Dollar Tree splatter screen, if I'm not mistaken. But this is going to be the handle on the top of our coffee pot lid. Thankfully, I was smart enough to keep the whole assembly, including the screw. So I'm going to disassemble this. I found the center point of my lid, and I'm just going to force that screw into the center point to make the hole. Easy enough to do since this is just cardboard. I push the screw into the hole from the underside of the lid, and I reassemble the knob on top. Easy peasy. There we go. Tighten this up a wee bit. I drilled holes in the side of the handle here, and I placed small pieces of wire in there that I'm going to use to mark where the holes are going to go on the canister. So, all I'm going to do is tap some ink onto the wires, and then press that up against the canister so that it leaves little dot marks. This is where I'll poke the holes. I'm using one of my clay tools here. It's like an awl. Punch those holes. I'll glue longer lengths of wire into the holes on the handles using fabric glue. Each wire is just a couple inches long, and I gave it a moment for the glue to set. And now I'm going to feed the wires into the holes on the canister. I'm going to bend those wires down to keep the handle in place, and I'll secure it with a little bit of hot glue. Now that the handle is in its position, it'll be easier for me to know where to position the spout. I want to go directly opposite the handle. I'm going to attach the spout with fabric glue. And again, I'm going to hang on to it just for a few minutes until the glue sets. To attach the lid to the coffee pot, I've twisted some craft wire to make a wee hinge of sorts by bending the wire into a right angle. I'll attach the hinge first to the lid with hot glue, and then once that sets, I'll attach the other end to the pot. And to make it a wee bit tidier, I covered the hinge with a piece of black cardstock. Again, on cardstock, I printed out a variety of coffee ephemera that I found on Pinterest. To make it extra sturdy, I backed it with some black cardstock, and I just glued it together using my glue stick. I'm going to cut out all these wee bits and bobs. Now I wind up not using all of the illustrations, but I figured it was better to have too many than not enough. You feel me? I can always save them for any future project. Once I get everything cut out, I'm going to hit the edges first with my Tim Holtz Vintage Photograph ink. Then I'll come back in and hit it again with some black ink. I'm applying the ink with a cosmetic sponge. This will give it a nice vintage look and also get rid of the exposed white edges. So what I did is print out images of old sugar packets, some biscotti, and a vintage creamer lid, etc. I tried to find images that had the same colors as my color palette. I love this little creamer label. I thought it was so cute. Perfect colors too. I definitely wanted some 3D elements, so I grabbed a handful of brown clay. This is just Model Magic that I mixed some brown acrylic paint into, and I'm going to roll out a whole bunch of coffee beans. So I'm just going to roll it out into an oval shape, and then I used my clay tool to create a crease in the middle, like a coffee bean would have. And then I set those guys aside overnight to dry. I thought sugar cubes would be a cute 3D element, so I painted some of those Dollar Tree wood cubes that you get in the Crafter Square section with white paint, and I coated them with Mod Podge, and then sprinkled them with sugar glitter. I also found these teeny tiny little dessert spoons at the Dollar Tree, so I'm going to coat the ends with Mod Podge, and then I'll dip them into the glitter as well. I'm going to glue my sugar cubes together in a triple stack, like so, 2 on the bottom and 1 bouncing on top. My coffee beans are dry, and now I'm going to glue them together in little clusters too. I thought it would be cute to add a couple of coffee beans to the coffee cup here, so I'm just going to glue those on. I stained some wooden skewers with my vintage photograph ink, and I'm gluing the skewers to the back of my ephemera. And I'm going to cover the back of the stick with some black cardstock too, make it look all nice and tidy. I have all of my ephemera attached to skewers of various heights, and I added some wire to one of my sugar cube clusters, and we're ready to assemble. I will fill my coffee pot with some of this brown paper shred that I got also at the Dollar Tree. They really need to change their name. It's not really the Dollar Tree anymore. I don't think I bought anything under $1.75. That's crazy. Anyway. When the shred is stuffed all together, it's very dense. So I didn't even need any styrofoam or anything like that in order to add my picks to the pot. I'll add my coffee cup first, dead center. Then I'll add the larger pieces behind it, and I'll add the 3D elements in front of it. I'll fuss with it until it's aesthetically pleasing to me. And our coffee assemblage is ready. Let's take a final look, shall we? We started out with a very simple cardboard canister from Dollar Tree, and we turned it into this really cute vintage coffee pot. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Let me know what you think. Wouldn't it be cool to get a gift card from your local bistro, your local coffee shop, add some real biscotti, and present this as a gift to somebody? Such a good idea, and so easy to do. All you need is that cardboard canister and some cardstock, and you're good to go. I want to thank Dawn of Shopping Meets Bling, Natalie of Sparks of Joy Studio, and Mary of The Painted Peach for co-hosting with me. You'll find links to their channels in the description box, along with a list to the creators playlist. Please be sure to watch everybody's fabulous videos, full of great ideas. Show everybody some love. And please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. Stay creative, my friends. Thanks for hanging with me. See you next time. Up all night with Monica.